anniversary specials just to catch a glimpse of these hidden characters. They were very easy to miss and forget about, but finding their real faces back then felt like a huge discovery and got me really excited. That's why I put them all together in this video, and I hope it brings you as much relief as it lays down in every single appearance. All we saw were those worn-out slippers and apron, and props to the producers for making it work, so much so that she appeared in 18 other cartoons like Puss Gets the Boot, The Bowling Alley Cat, Baby Puss, and Springtime for Thomas, and became one of the most recognizable characters in the franchise, despite having no clue what she actually looked like. But we got to see her face in some very rare Tom and Jerry shorts like Time Pal, Mouse Cleaning, and Saturday Evening Puss, and every single time it was so short that you could miss it if you weren't paying full attention. Seriously, I remember watching Saturday Evening Puss, but I only found Mammy Two Shoes was in it years later when someone pointed it out. Anyway, there's a theory that the show producers only showing her from the waist down was less about being mysterious and more about reducing her identity as a black woman. That's a big speculation, by the way, but it's not totally far-fetched given the reputation of the Hollywood writers, specifically that 1940s era. What we do know for sure is that by 1953, she was scrubbed out of the series after massive protests about the racial undertone, and the white couple that replaced her had their faces shown on camera from day one. It's a pretty clear indicator that there's always a solid reason for characters not having faces. That's why it was hard for me to understand why Kenny McCormick from South Park had that orange parka on 24/7 that covered his entire face and only left his eyes exposed. This kid practically died in every single episode for 5 straight seasons, and these were high-impact deaths, like getting hit by buses, getting blown up, crushed by space stations. You'd think that with all that force, the hood would fly off at least once, right? I paid attention to every single episode trying to catch something, but this guy literally held his head still through death after death, and we had to go through 2 full seasons before we finally got anything. The first time we see Kenny's full face is in the 1999 South Park movie, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, when Kenny sacrificed his life to save the world from an apocalypse led by Satan alongside Saddam Hussein. He spent the movie getting close to Satan, convinced him that Saddam was using him, and when Satan finally stood up for himself and won, he offered Kenny one wish as a thank you. Kenny used it to undo the entire apocalypse and send everyone back to normal, knowing full well it meant going back to hell. Because of that sacrifice, he was admitted into heaven instead. That's when he pulled his hood off and said goodbye to his friends for the Because of that sacrifice, he was admitted into heaven instead. That's when he pulled his hood off and said goodbye to his friends for the first time in his actual voice and ascended up to heaven. Kenny was blonde. That was it. Just a regular blonde kid under a hoodie. I can't lie, it was a bit of a letdown, because I thought he was hiding something under the hoodie, and that would have made the big reveal a lot more special, but it is what it is. Producers later admitted that hiding Kenny's face was a deliberate choice because seeing his actual face would make his death feel real and sad rather than funny. And it makes sense, because the moment you see him terrified without the hood, it stops being a joke and becomes a child dying. After the movie, we see him without his hood a handful of times across the series. In The Tooth Fairy's Tats 2000, when he gets yanked out of his hoodie, in Super Best Friends, when a cult shaved everyone's heads, and briefly in You're Getting Old, singing Happy Birthday to Stan. The great part about Kenny, though, is even people that missed the short parts where his face was revealed already saw the outline of his face and his eyes, so they could picture him. The producers of Powerpuff Girls didn't even give us an option to guess what Miss Sarah Bellum looked like because the cameras were always cut off above her neck. Every single time she walked into frame, something was blocking the shot. A door frame, her own hair, a filing cabinet appearing out of nowhere at exactly the right moment. Like, hello, can we just see her face? The craziest part is that everyone in the show kept telling us how beautiful she was. The whole city was obsessed with Miss Bellum's looks while we were sitting there imagining their view. It got so bad that fans actually started making things up, like the reason we couldn't see her full frame was because the show put us in the mayor's perspective the whole time. A man who only ever paid attention to her body and never her face. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense as a theory, but then the creator Craig McCracken came out and said the actual reason was way simpler than anyone expected. Miss Bellum is so tall and the mayor is so short that framing them together naturally cuts her face out of shot every single time. It was basically just a camera angle thing that accidentally became one of the biggest mysteries in cartoon history. All that theory laid to rest because the man wasn't up to 6 feet tall. Justice for my short kings, though. Anyway, the writers finally decided to give us something in the 10th anniversary special. We got to see one of her eyes, which was even closed, her rounded chin, and some red lipstick before the camera moved away. At the time, we didn't appreciate the scene. We just played it off with the hopes that we would get a full face reveal eventually. Newsflash, it never came. So we're holding on to that one eye and the chin really tight. If you close your eyes and imagine hard enough, you should be able to make out something nice from them, just like I'm doing right now. Dr. Claw, though, that man didn't even give us an arm to work with. Well, actually he did. Literally just an arm, and that was the whole character for years. All we ever saw was his metal gloved fist slamming a desk, his cat Mad Cat sitting beside him, and that deep, terrifying voice barking orders while Penny and Brian foiled his plans from a few feet away. So we literally had to imagine his facial expressions when he was talking, and that harsh voice had everyone convinced that this man looked like Darth Vader or something mechanical and monstrous. We literally imagined the most dramatic face possible, and the internet was buzzing to see his real face. The producer saw it and decided to make a cool cash off for the man by dropping a toy line in 1992. They covered his face on the packaging with a cardboard sticker that said, "Reveal the mysterious Dr. Claw. His villainous face has never been seen before," and printed it in English and French. Everyone rushed to buy the toy for $10, except me, of course. I hadn't been born yet. But it wasn't anything close to what we expected. This was the OG, what I ordered versus what I got. Turns out Dr. Claw actually looks more like me than a Doomsday or Voldemort. Everyone went, "Are you kidding me? Are we seriously looking at the angry-looking older man with a crooked eye?" I don't know if the producers didn't think it through properly before releasing, but it was definitely a miss. And that's the thing with these faceless characters. They had so much aura without a face on. Revealing their face was a huge gamble. But just when you think face reveals can't get more underwhelming, you got someone like Father from Codename Kids Next Door. He was the main villain of the entire series, and for most of its run, he appeared as a black silhouette of a man with sharp, angular features, a pipe, and a pompadour. We literally hated someone we couldn't see, just a dark outline that could set himself on fire whenever he got angry. The silhouette made him feel like something genuinely beyond normal cartoon villains, and we couldn't wait to see the demon behind it. Only to find out in Operation Zero, the series movie, that Father was just a completely regular-looking man in a costume, and he's the brother of Number One's father, and therefore Number One's own uncle. Finding out he had been terrorizing his family for that long exposed that it was beyond regular evil and taking over the world for him. It was more about being jealous of his brother Monty and trying to destroy his legacy. Speaking of silhouettes and shadows, isn't it crazy that the Garmadon we saw for most of Ninjago wasn't even his original form? So you probably never saw him in his youth. Before the darkness took over, Garmadon was actually a good man. He was devoted to his family and trained alongside his brother Wu. Then he got bitten by the Great Devourer, a serpent from the Overlord that had specifically corrupted and sent after him to use Garmadon as a vessel for his own return. That bite slowly changed everything. He grew 4 arms, his eyes turned red, dark armor replaced everything he used to wear, and his voice got terrifying. And that's the version we see throughout the show. The only times we see his original human form is in flashbacks. He's a normal-looking man with brown hair, same face structure as Wu. Just watching young Garmadon playing alongside Wu and then cutting back to the 4-armed shadow villain is genuinely one of the biggest wow moments in the show, because the face was always there, just buried too deep under the venom. When Lloyd finally defeated the Overlord and the darkness was purged from Garmadon, we see him again, but he's already old with gray hair. It's a really sad story because this villain everyone spent seasons fearing turned out to be someone who had been fighting the darkness inside himself the whole time and losing. Now, next on the list is actually a double mystery. The producers of Ed, Edd, and Eddy had us enjoying a show with two faceless characters. It doesn't even make sense. Double D wore a black ski hat the entire run of the show and never took it off. Not once. And the few times it accidentally slipped off or got lifted, the reactions from Ed and Eddy were genuinely disturbing. Eddy shouted, "My eyes, they burn!" And Ed looked at Double D's head and asked, "Does it hurt, Double D?" Shut. Does it hurt? That is not how you react to seeing your friend's normal hair. There was definitely something under that hat, and whatever it was bad enough to leave these two kids shocked. The voice actor himself suggested at a convention that Double D might be part of a conjoined twin set that went horribly wrong. There was even a deleted scene from the series finale movie that was going to show a scar on his head, but it got cut. The creators took that secret to the grave, so we'll never know. R.I.P. to that storyline. But thank God we at least got Eddie's brother. For the entire run of the show, Eddy talked about his older brother like the man was a living legend, a genius prankster, the coolest person alive, someone the whole neighborhood was apparently terrified of. His room was nailed and chained shut. Even the Kanker sisters went quiet when his name came up. We spent years imagining what this man looked like and whether he was everything Eddy said he was. The 2009 series finale movie finally took us there. The Eds crossed town and found him living in a whale-shaped trailer at an amusement park. When he stepped out, he looked exactly like an older Eddy. Same big chin and goatee, same DNA written all over his face. And for the first few seconds, it seemed like everything Eddy said was true. He looked calm and cool until he grabbed Eddy without any warning and started beating him up in front of everyone, throwing him around, talking down on him like he was nothing. The whole neighborhood had spent years in awe of someone who had been breaking his little brother down since childhood. This is the moment we see that everything annoying about Eddy through the entire series, the scams, the ego, the desperate need to be liked, all came from growing up trying to earn the approval of his brother. This reveal was very important for the single reason of clearing that out. Next, we have Satoshi Nakamoto of Townsville, Wizard Kelly. He was the richest man in the Proud Family universe, an eccentric billionaire who appeared regularly throughout the series, but was always shown from the chin down. Sometimes a microphone would block the view, sometimes the camera angle just never went high enough. We only got to see his face twice across the entire series. Once in the Sister Spice episode, where you could briefly catch it if you had your brightness turned up all the way, and the other time, with a way better view, is in the Proud Family movie when a wave of peanut butter swept through a stadium and the camera angle shifted just enough to show his face for a split second. Those reveals were so short that the mystery stayed alive even after the movie was done, and it didn't help that creator Bruce W. Smith came out after the movie and denied it was even Wizard Kelly in that scene. Instead, he said it was his stunt double. What does a stunt double for a cartoon even mean? Let it go, bro. Some producers make characters mysterious. Slade from Teen Titans chose mystery for himself. Slade was the most terrifying and mysterious villain in Teen Titans. He wore an orange and black mask everywhere, and Robin spent seasons obsessing over unmasking him, but the show never allowed it. It was like witnessing a villain get plot armor for the first time ever. In Apprentice Part 2, there was a brief shadow of his head without the mask. We saw his short, spiky hair, but nothing more. The actual reveal came in the end of Part 2, and it was not what anyone expected. A fiery enemy knocked Slade's mask off mid-fight, and underneath it is a bare skull with a single red glowing eye and a scar over the empty right socket. Because at that point in the show, Slade was technically dead, being kept together by Trigon's dark magic. So the one time we finally see his face, it's not even his real face, just bones. And how could I ever make a face reveal list without the worst baseball player ever, Bucky McBadbat? Bucky is Chester's dad in Fairly Odd Parents. This man literally wore a paper bag over his head throughout the entire time on the show. The reason was simple and genuinely sad. Bucky had been the worst baseball player in the history of the sport. His failures were so public and so humiliating that he couldn't bear to be recognized in public. So the bag was his way of existing in the world without the shame catching up to him. Chester grew up with a father who hid his face every single day out of embarrassment. His face was finally revealed in the Fairly Idol special when Chester used Norm the Genie to wish for his dad to be rich and famous again. Bucky became muscular, successful, and was finally able to take the bag off. But because it was Norm's magic, the wish backfired almost immediately, and Bucky lost everything, including the custody of Chester, before things went back to normal, including the bag. He couldn't face reality. The point of Chester covering his face everywhere he went was less about being mysterious and more about showing us what shame does to a person. The way covering his face everywhere he went was less about being mysterious and more about showing us what shame does to a person. The way does to a person. The way it limits your growth in life. Everyone on this list had their faces hidden for a reason. Some
Oh my god, I'm just say 500 times. Come on. Done.
This is Jiffy Pop popcorn, supposedly a fun way to cook traditional popcorn, and here's how it works. So,
what would you do if it
this level is so unique, I absolutely love it. It looks very normal at first, and there's no obstacles coming your way. There's only these things happening behind you. And in this wave part, we only change speeds, and it seems like we are drawing a layout behind us as we play. This is exactly what it is. You draw your own gameplay on your first attempt on all the game modes. However, to complete the level, you get teleported back, and you have to beat your same layout that you just created. So if you are being too unmerciful, the level will be the same way towards you. Making this was really, really fun. And to watch the full document,
Today we're making 3-ingredient pink lemonade fudge. It's so easy you can literally do it while flying in an airplane.
Do it on the plane? Okay.
3 cups of melted chocolate.
3 cups of melted chocolate.
14-ounce can of condensed milk.
Can of condensed milk.
2 packets of pink lemonade Kool-Aid.
Purple Kool-Aid. 2 tablespoons.
So just give that a good mix.
And just give this a bad mix.
And top with some sprinkles.
And top it up with some sprinkles.
Now we're gonna let this sit for 1 to 2 hours until it fully sets.
And then I have it. I think this lemonade fudge. Did I do well somewhere? Ever had a cheetah in your game and you were just really annoyed? I have, and it made me really upset. So, viewer, let's make a bet. Every time I get a sub on this short, I will look at a picture of a cheetah for 1 second. I know that this is not going to get any subs, but if it does, then, Hello guys, it's Games. Here are the contestants. Hi. Holy. And in today's video, we're going to be answering all of your questions. So the first question is said by Me Plays I1V. And that question is, why did you choose the name for your channel Real Leafy Green? That's actually a really nice question. So anyways, Leafy is my favorite character, and because Leafy is green, and has 4 rules. And he said, in the last Q&A, yeah, I do have it anymore. I kind of quit playing it, and said, if you so, you can friend me. I can't friend you, but you can search up my username if you want. I'll put it in my bio so everyone can see. The next question is said by Loska Screen. And that question is, do you have Discord? Yes, I actually did turn evil last time now. I asked you, can you turn metal? Sorry if it's confusing, but yes, I can turn metal. That's not. Anyways, the next question is said by Speed.
He said it. He said the word. She said the word.
Objector. They have 4 questions, so I'm going to be answering all of them. The first question is hello. Hello to you. And the second question is, what software do you use to edit? My software that I use to edit, I actually use Canva for editing, but I'm pretty sure I said this in the previous Q&A. But it's alright. The third question is, how did you react to when BFDIE released? I was actually pretty surprised. I was like, oh, cool, it's a new season. I love new season. The final question is, do you like the profile pictures I made for you? Yeah, it's actually really lovely. Anyways, that's all the questions you guys said. I'll see you.
Oh, hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for doing some subscribe right now. I guess streaming this game actually works. I don't know how. This game is in the. Something that is probably going to be played at this level, this point to get a lot of stuff because it's kind of good. Yeah, also. I only edit mode, they make it in Swift. That'll be a good idea. That'll be a good game idea. Good update. Oh, I will be what is your stream of rock? 그래도 방법을 하는데 스트레스가 받은 섞어서 그래서 한 2가지 마음을 according to this creation. I love gold we should go for the first time and you didn't listen to us this season.